Ephesus was an ancient Greek city and later a major Roman city on the west coast of Asia Minor in present-day Turkey. In the Roman period, it was for many years the second largest city of the Roman Empire, ranking only behind Rome. At that time, Ephesus had a population of more than 250,000 in the 1st century BC. The city was famed for the Temple of Artemis, which was completed around 550 BC, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The temple was destroyed in 401 AD by raiding Goths. The town again was partially destroyed by an earthquake in 614 AD, and the city's importance as a commercial center declined as the harbor was slowly silted up by the Cayster River. Ephesus contains the largest collection of Roman ruins in the eastern Mediterranean. Only an estimated 15% has been excavated. The ruins that are visible give us some idea of the city's original splendor. For example, the Library of Celsus, the facade of which has been carefully reconstructed from all original pieces, was originally built in 125 AD in memory of Tiberius Julius Celsus, a Greek who served as governor of Roman Asia. Celsus paid for the construction of the library with his own personal wealth and is buried in a sarcophagus beneath it. The library was completed by his son, Gaius Julius Aquila, and once held nearly 12,000 scrolls. The Celsus Library in Ephesus was the 3rd largest library in the Roman Empire, after libraries in Alexandria and Pergamum. Designed with an exaggerated entrance, the building faces east so that the reading rooms could make best use of the morning light. The library has been restored over the past 100 years with the aid of the Austrian Archaeological Institute, where Austrians still lead much of the excavation that continues in Ephesus today. This gate next to the library is the Gate of Mazaeus and Mithridates. It has 3 passageways on the right side of the library and was built in 40 AD by the slaves Mazaeus and Mithridates for their emperor Augustus, who gave them their freedom. The passages are vaulted on the front side, facing the Celsus Library, and are made of black marble, while the other side is white. We saw these public latrines. They were part of the Scholastica baths and built in the 1st century AD. They were the public toilets of the city, with an entrance fee to use them. In the center was an uncovered pool, and the toilets were aligned along the walls. There was an extensive drainage system under the toilets. The public toilets in Ephesus ranged side by side with no partition between them, where the rich people used to send their slaves and heat the seats for them, sitting on the seats for their masters until they arrived. On the Marble Road, there are some drawings believed to be an advertisement for a brothel. This etching in the marble is known as the first advertisement in history. There's a footprint, one finger showing the library, the other showing the brothel. On the marble road leading up to the harbor, the explanation of this sign is that the heart symbol in the woman's head says that if you want the love of a young woman, turn left at the library. There's also a symbol for money. We also saw such informal symbols for Judaism and Christianity, as Ephesus was a major center for both. Christians would identify themselves with one another with the sign of the fish, which is ichthus in Greek, using the sign of the fish as an anagram for Jesus Christ, God's Son, Savior. The Apostle Paul came to Ephesus 2 times during his travels, at one point giving daily talks in the school of Tyrannus from AD 52 to 54. In Acts 19, we're told the story of his preaching at the theater in Ephesus, which resulted in a riot by local artisans, whose livelihood depended on selling of statuettes of Artemis. Paul also wrote the letter of 1 Corinthians from Ephesus between 53 and 57 AD, where he was imprisoned for a short time. Later, Paul wrote the epistle to the Ephesians while he was in prison in Rome around 62 AD. Ephesus was one of the 7 churches of Asia that are cited in the book of Revelation. It is thought that the Gospel of John was written from Ephesus. The Church of Mary, close to the harbor of Ephesus, was the setting for the Third Ecumenical Council in 431 AD. The house of the Virgin Mary, about 4 miles from this location, is believed to have been the last home of Mary, the mother of Jesus. John the Evangelist, the Apostle John, also lived in Ephesus in his later years, except for a short time when he was imprisoned or exiled on Patmos. The terrace houses of Ephesus are a relatively new excavation. They were built on the hill opposite Hadrian's temple. They're called the houses of the rich, important for the reason that they give us information about family life during the Roman period. There are 6 residential units that are being excavated, the oldest buildings dating back to the 1st century BC, and they continued as residence until the 7th century AD. The heating system of the terrace houses were the same as that in the baths. Clay pipes beneath the floors and behind the walls carried hot air throughout the houses. The houses also had cold and hot running water. The rooms had no windows, but they were illuminated from light coming from the open halls, so that most rooms were quite dim. The excavations of the terrace houses started in 1960. Ephesus had an Odeon, a small roof theater which was constructed by around 150 AD. It was a small salon for plays and concerts and seated about 1,500 people. The Hercules Gate is so named because of the relief of Hercules that is on it. Only the 2 sides of the column remain today, and the other parts have not been found. The relief of the flying Nike or Nike in the Domitian Square is thought to have also been part of this Gate of Hercules. The Hercules Gate narrowed access to the street, preventing the passage of vehicles, as the street had become a pedestrian area.